Thank you for joining us. I'm Katie Weston, Community Engagement Manager for the Partnership for Food Safety Education. And today I am very excited to be interviewing Britanny Saunier. Britanny has been with the partnership for a number of years and is now stepping into a new role as the Executive Director. Thank you for joining me, Britanny.
Hi, Katie. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Britanny. Our first question is, what was your first job?
This is such a fun question because, looking back at my first job, I was exposed so much to food safety, and I don't think I realized the subconscious implementation of food safety in my mind from this job. So I started working probably around 15 or so at an assisted living and independent living facility as a dietary server. And I worked in the restaurant or food hall. I would serve residents who had a little bit more, needed more skilled care. And then I'd also served residents who were just in their retirement age, very independent yet, but would come and eat at the restaurant as a traditional restaurant. It was really fun. And so that was my first job as really a server, working with a vulnerable population around food. And I did that throughout college, even coming back on breaks and working there. So I was there for quite a few years. And I remember one instance, it's a food safety story I really want to share that sticks out to me now. There was a chef who I was working with in the kitchen, and I was preparing the prunes for the assisted living portion of the meal service. And the container had gone empty. So I was replenishing the prunes, and he had told me, no, you need to get a new container. You can't reuse the previous container. Well, I was a very strong-willed, like 16-year-old at the time, thought I knew better, was like, no, we don't need to create more dishes. Let's just do it. And I dumped the whole can of prunes in that same container. And he right away, very upset, of course, dumped that entire container. So I feel bad for contributing to food waste. I dumped that entire container and said, no, you will make people sick. You need to use a brand new container. And that really stuck out to me. Like, looking back, I just appreciate his dedication and passion to protecting that population. And I'm just so thankful. Hopefully I never got anyone sick with my stubbornness as a young kid, but that was one of my first jobs and exposure to food safety.
So lucky you had him there to start teaching you about food safety.
Yes. I mean, I'm so glad there was a champion in that kitchen, for sure.
So how did you get started with the partnership?
I started with the partnership in around 2011 as an intern. I had moved, I grew up in Ohio, where all my family is, and I had moved to DC to go to grad school to get my master's in public administration. And I was really adamant about getting into food safety realm. And the internship at the partnership popped up. And I thought, well, this is my chance. And luckily they chose me, Shelly chose me, and sort of worked with the partnership ever since in a variety of capacities.
Yeah, you recently stepped into a new role as executive director. What are you most excited about in this new role?
Well, it's an incredibly exciting role. And to just be part of advancing our mission is really important to me, to my core, my personal values and beliefs, and how I relate to our mission. So it's just an honor, quite frankly, to be able to work with our team, you, Katie, and Shantae, and our board and backfighters to help prevent foodborne illnesses.
And we love having you as our director too.
It's on camera, guys.
I can't deny it later.
Yeah.
So do you have a vision, or what is your vision for the future of the partnership?
Well, it's very bright. And there is, of course, very much a need. 1 in 6 Americans will experience foodborne illness, unfortunately. And we are here to help prevent that. And I think that as we continue to work together as a collective community, the future looks like creating food safety as a shared cultural norm, I think. And how do we do that? We do that by making food safety steps and practices this value of every household. It's no longer this thing that should be done or must be done to stay healthy. It's just something that happens because that's just what we do. And I'm really excited. And I think the partnership is positioned to raise awareness of safe food handling steps. So I'm really looking forward to making food safety a shared cultural norm rather than just something that must be done.
Mhm. So you talked a little bit about the food safety champion in your first job. Who else has inspired you to have the career you have today?
Wow. There have been many people along my journey that I just want to shout out so badly now. However, I would say that clear moment for me where I knew food safety as a career was my path and where my heart needed to be was when I was preparing for graduate school. I think I was packing an apartment. It was like a lazy kind of summer afternoon, getting ready to move from Ohio to DC. And I took a break and I was watching a documentary on the food system. And I remember Barbara Kowalczyk came on the screen and she was sharing her very tragic story around her son, Kevin, and how she lost her son, Kevin, to foodborne illness. And, flash forward just here shortly, actually, a few years ago, Pat Buck, his grandmother served on our board of directors. And I remember, in that moment, hearing her story and just realizing, oh my goodness, people can get sick from handling of food and from food products. And it never occurred to me until then. And eating is a basic need. We all have to eat. And I just became so impassioned to work in food safety as a public health issue to help prevent those illnesses. And so that was a critical moment for me when I knew, okay, I'm moving to DC and I'm going to be studying public administration and with a focus on health policy with the intent of getting into food safety issues as a public health matter. And so that was really a defining moment for me to launch me into this career.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
I think we're going to switch now to some fun questions. What do you think?
Okay. We'll see. Yeah.
All right. What is the best meal you cook? Your very best meal?
Oh my goodness. Well, define best. You know, I am a big fan of mixing things up. I love taking prepared foods and then a top chef word, elevating it with my own choices. I would say one of my favorite go-to meals, and I know this might make some folks cringe, but I love taking the good old tradition ramen noodle packet and adding vegetables and eggs and sriracha. And that is just, especially right now in this season of fall and warm, one of my favorite meals that I still make to this day.
That sounds really good. Now I'm craving ramen.
Yeah, I'm not sure some would say it was the best meal, but it's one of my favorite go-tos.
So we'll see if you remember this. What is the first thing you bought with your own money?
Yeah, this is such a fun question to really look back and think about, what are those things that we just love as kids, right? And I remember in some of those instances where I did come across like a quarter here or there and I was squirreling it away as a young kid. I loved buying cassette tape singles. In fact, I think one of my favorite and earliest purchases was probably the TLC cassette tape single. I can still see it now. I think like $3. You walked up and you could get a cassette tape with like their like 1 to 3 songs, whatever they felt like releasing. Sometimes there's a remix on the other side. So that was something I was always buying as a kid and squirreling away coins and allowances for.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sad we're coming to a close, but I have one final question for you. I'm really curious about this. What's your secret talent that no one knows about?
Oh gosh. Well, then it's not a secret. Um,
You're
I
revealing
don't,
it for us.
I know. I actually don't know. You know, I think probably if you'd asked my husband, he would tell you that I'm a really great mover, meaning like I can just, for some reason, when you're moving your homes or whatever, you have to move furniture, I just get into this other mode and I can like lift things and my endurance is this crazy level. I have no clue how this happens. And for some reason, I feel compelled to share that that's my secret talent. But that's the only thing I could think of where it's like I have this special power that just turns on. Yeah. So I guess if you need help moving, let me know.
I was just thinking that we know who to call if we need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Is there anything else you want to add before we end the interview?
I'm just really excited to be working with this amazing group of food safety professionals, backfighters. I hope we'll, get into some really fun stuff this coming year and really make a difference together. I know we will have fun and we will make a difference helping households stay healthy. So thank you for the hard work you're doing, and thank you, Katie, for engaging with that important community.
Thank you. And thank you for sitting to do this interview with me, Brittany.
My pleasure.